A warm greetings to one and all. I'm Sai Parmeshwari from CSM B section. Today we are going to discuss a topic automobile pollution. Abstraction. Automobile pollution is faster growing into a problem of serious dimensions in almost all the major cities and towns in developing countries. After an overview of road transport and sources of vehicular emissions, papers present emissions of various sources of vehicular emission in each of the major category of vehicles. In such case study contains a strategy for emission control and plan of action for these countries is also given as interesting case study indicating the impact of integration time, load speed, and fuel air ratio on emission is main highlight of the paper. It indicates that how an improved strategy for polluting control using methane in lieu of petroleum in internal combustion engine could be developed. Results indicate promotion future of methane using turbulent swirling in internal combustion for emission reduction because of high burning velocity. Introduction. Global car registration registration is growing more as the population. 50 million cars in 1954, 350 million in 1989, 500 million in 1997. As per as estimate demand for transport in developing world is expected to grow by 3.6% each year until 2020, more than twice the in developed countries. Globalization will lead to greater movements of goods as people, even with growth in telecommunication, the road transportation sector is the fastest growing and responsible for 21% of global energy related total emissions. This is in part because of being the most subsidized and centrally planned sector of the major of the world's economics. This rapid growth is higher in developing countries where an automobile related pollution is faster growing into a problem of serious dimensions in almost of the major cities and towns. Transport consumes half the world's oil and water of communicably tolerable energy. Rising air pollution is caused not only by the rapid rise in automobile pollution, uh, but also due to narrow roads, slow moving traffic, poor enforcement of laws relating to vehicles, road worthiness, poor emission control measures, etc. In addition, in some developing countries like India and Iran, due temperature inversion is reported to occur for over 50% of days in a year and exists 6 hours of more than 90% of the time in winter months. This builds up a high concentration of pollutants in the vicinity of pollution sources due to resistant dispersion of pollutants. And Overview of road transports. The energy consumption in transportation sector grew grew between 1985 and 1997 at an average annual rate of 3%. Within the transport sector, road transport is the largest energy consuming but sector accounting of about 83% of total energy demand since 1985. The energy and environment implications of road transport are increasing because the expected growth in traffic volumes is likely to more than offset the expected energy efficiency importance in vehicle performance. Also, the rate of cars ownership is increasing, however, at reduced speed. In addition, larger energies have increased their shares of new registered at the expenses of small cars. Use of both types and amount of fuels for road transport are influenced by technical, environment, and price consideration. The continuously increasing using of private cars and trucks in passengers and goods transport is responsible for a number of problems. This has promoted numerous studies pertaining to not only understanding broad impact of energy conversion measures and the environment, but also developing future transportation systems that offer increased mobility with use of far less energy. Emission control strategies. Number of tech- technique use is employed to control crankshaft emission. Several of modifications to positive crankcast ventilation were proposed by Tracy et al. Back in 1970 for evaporative emission control, vapor recovery system, and absorption degradation system are employed. Several technical operations available for exhaust emission control included engine operating variables modification, fuel design modification, exit gas circulation for NOx control, exit gas treatment devices, and fuel modifications. The above technologies are well documented in literature. Table 8 shows some of possible controls technique used for two so SI engines. As apparent, there are not no suitable control techniques which can effectively control HC emission. In view of switching from two-stroke to four-stroke engine is highly visible. Critical case studies. This requires comprehensive nationwide air quality data from preliminary emission inverts the adoption of following specific techniques seems promising. For four-stroke engine, also there is need to address the question of lead emission in a phased manner with possible induction of effect lead particular traps. Emission inverts for 2 and 3 vehicles point out the need to consider developments as given below. Cha- charge station, exact treatment devices substituted by small four-stroke engines. It has prevented emissions of various sources of vehicles, emissions of major categories of vehicles in case study countries. Finally, after presenting potential potential for new ideas, initiatives as practices for short, medium, and long term measurement papers outlines directions for a vehicle emission control program to put sustainable part by cleaning and not by spoiling the environment. Thank you.